and subscribe to this channel for free. We will always post a link on the El Dorado Broncos baseball.
Hey, good evening, everybody. It's time for El Dorado Bronco baseball tonight. The Broncos and the Twins, a very familiar opponent, as they will do battle for the second time in 3 nights. Let's run down the Derby lineup for you here. They will lead off with Jared Flax, a center fielder. Tanner Kirk bats second. Dylan Dillard is third. Juan Rivera, the second baseman, bats fourth. Jacob Swinney, fifth. Ross Grosvenor, the first baseman, bats sixth. Colin Neville is at DH tonight, batting seventh. Brian Choi, the catcher, eighth. Gus Strunk will bat ninth. And on the mound tonight for Derby is Lodke Zotika.
In the outfield for the El Dorado Broncos, starting in left field, Dylan Muka. In center field, Sam Lane. In right field, Michael Muka. At third, Trevor Azell. Shortstop, Morgan Oliver. At second base, Levi Parker. At first, Wade Stramp catching the ball tonight is Cameron Knight, and he'll be catching the ball from starting pitcher Nick Schumann.
And Schumann started off Flax with a strike, comes back with a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Beautiful evening here in El Dorado, a Chamber of Commerce-like night. Kurt Caden, Avery Osen here. Great to have you tuned in, and we are hoping for no technology issues tonight. And actually, that was an 0-2 pitch, Avery, and a swing and a miss from Flax, and Nick Schumann makes quick work of Flax, the first batter of the night.
We'll say this again over and over. If there is a problem, either refresh your page, or if the event says it is closed or over, we will be posting a new link. And we'll try to put that in the comments of the last video, if that makes sense. So be patient with us. Hopefully our technology works out fine tonight, though.
Looks good so far. I'm going to knock on counter. Tanner Kirk is the next batter up for the Derby Twins. And Schumann, the left-handed pitcher, brings in a ball. Nick Schumann from Mesa Junior College, 6'5", 210, from Mesa, Arizona. 6'5", 210, right-hander, bats right, actually, throws left. Now you batted left and threw right. Can't remember which one is, like, one of those is very unique. I can't remember which one it is, though. Here's Schumann with the pitch. That is outside. 3 balls and 1 strike. Boy, just a beautiful night. A little cool front. Can't really say a cold front, but a cool front came through. And so yesterday it was 99 degrees, 97 degrees, I think, at first pitch. And tonight we'll give you that temperature as strike 2 is thrown in there. Our first pitch temperature, 80 degrees. And you can really tell that 17-degree difference, can't you?
Yeah, and the Broncos supporting their orange vest tonight.
3-2. Schumann is low, ball 4. That was close. Tanner Kirk will take the walk. And now, very interested to see how this works out, Avery. The Broncos have a lefty. Dylan Dillard was hit by a pitch 5 times on Sunday night. And it was the same kind of, right off the shoulder, right off the forearm. There was nothing at the head or the legs. They weren't throwing at him. He guards the inside part of the plate, and the Broncos wanted to pitch on the inside. They were all righties, though. First pitch is low, ball 1. And one thing again from Dillard, you don't see him flying out of that batter's box if a ball is coming near. He will absorb it. But I don't know if I've ever seen a game where a guy gets hit 5 times. So 1 ball and no strikes to Dillard, and the lefty Schumann brings in a strike. It's fouled off. 1 ball and 1 strike. One of those great nights here at the park where the crowd is filing in, but there's also a lot of youth baseball going on. Lots of cars in the parking lot. And just a glorious day here in South Central Kansas. 1 ball and 1 strike. Tanner Kirk is over at first base after being walked on a 3-2 count. Jared Flax led off the game with a strikeout for Derby. Nick Schumann with the pitch. Curveball stayed outside. Ball 2. Schumann comes into this game with an ERA over 10, which has been kind of an issue for all the starters. Talking before the game with some of the folks up here, and the relief pitching has been pretty good for El Dorado. They've had troubles getting a good quality start, though, of late. When you think of this 4-game homestand, which featured Hayesville here Saturday, Derby Sunday, Wellington Monday, Derby tonight, those first 3 nights, Avery, I think 4 innings by Josh Murtha was the furthest a starter has gone. for El Dorado. There's a pitch into the dirt, ball 3.
This late in the season, we're getting to the latter parts, and you really want your starters to go as long as they can, so then the relief pitching doesn't tax them as much, and the Broncos have done just the opposite the last few days.
Yeah, they really, again, we said it last night, I think you can really emphasize it tonight, really need a good quality start from Nick Schumann tonight. He's walked Kirk, and he's behind 3-1 on Dylan Dillard, and he'll step off. Kirk doesn't retreat to the base. So 3 balls and 1 strike here against Dylan Dillard. And the pitch from Schumann is laced out to left field, and that'll be a base hit. Fielding it on one hop is Dylan Muka, and he'll get it in. So Dillard drills one out to left field for a single. And here comes Juan Rivera, the second baseman. Of course, we invite any of your comments. We have had a lot of fun visiting with folks by seeing their comments right there on the YouTube page. You can just comment right on there. And last night we had a lot of fun with the Wellington folks. Unfortunately, our computer kept giving us issues, and so we had to end the broadcast once, restart it, had that going, and then that gave out on us. El Dorado eventually lost 7-1. It was a very quiet 8th and 9th inning that we weren't able to broadcast last night. But big props to the Wellington Heat, winning their 20th game in league play against just 3 losses. No balls and a strike to Juan Rivera. And the pitch is fouled off and gets through the first base coach into the bullpen. Didn't stay down on it. No balls and 2 strikes to Rivera. Rivera was a key player here in that 16-inning win by El Dorado on Sunday night. Here's an 0-2 pitch from Nick Schumann. Oliver goes to the base, and we'll wait for that 0-2 pitch. Rivera, you might remember, I can't remember what if it was the 15th inning or the 16th. Derby had first and third. They were going to steal the runner from first to second, but Rivera found a pitch he liked and grounded out. As here he grounds into a single, and the throw to the plate. Cameron Knight's got the tag and threw him out. What a play by Michael Muka. He throws a strike to Cameron Knight, and that'll be the second out of the inning. The tag got him in the midsection, but again, on that turf favor, you don't slide quite as smoothly or quickly, and sometimes it kind of holds you up. And I can see where the Derby coach's argument could be that, hey, if he tagged him up here, didn't his legs get into the plate first? But they really didn't.
Yeah, it was a good call. I thought tagged him out before he got to the base. But you got to give credit where credit is due. And Michael Muka, perfect throw to Cameron Knight.
Advancing to second on the single was Dylan Dillard. So 2 away, and here's Jacob Swinney. And the pitch is low, ball 1. But what I was saying about Rivera is the Derby coach was a little upset because Rivera, it basically turned into a hit and run, and Rivera got thrown out at first. They still had runners at second and third, but they had an out, and they were hoping to have the runners at second and third with Rivera up. Just a little miscommunication there from Juan, who handles the bat really well. Nice single there, but unable to drive in the run as he's chopped down at third, or at home, I should say. Here's a diving stop by Azell, fires over to first base. Should be a base hit. Nice stop by Trevor Azell. As if Azell doesn't make that stop, the 1-run scores maybe 2. And I think if Azell fields it and immediately throws to first, he might have had a chance at Swinney. But he thought maybe he could get Dillard out at third.
Yeah, he went and stepped on the plate, or stepped on third base first, not in time to get him, and then by the time he threw it to first, it was too late.
So Ross Grosvenor, the first baseman. Big spot here, 2 outs in the top of the first. Base is loaded. And the 1-0 pitch is low, ball 2. And so Grosvenor now holding all the cards, ahead 2-0. Nowhere to put him either. Colin Neville waits on deck for the Twins. You might remember Sunday night, the Twins had the bases loaded in the first inning. They'd scored 3 times, but then hit into an inning double play. Don't need a double play here, just need to get Grosvenor out, and Schumann fires a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike. Schumann takes a look in. Cameron Knight flashing the signals. 2-1. Here's the pitch from Schumann, and it's skied straight up in the air. Trying to find it is Levi Parker, and Parker comes over and makes the catch in front of Wade Stramp. And for the first time in this homestand, the Broncos don't go into the dugout trailing. 0-0 our score. We head to the bottom half of the first inning. You're listening to El Dorado Bronco Baseball here on YouTube. Welcome back to El Dorado, McDonald Stadium, Bradlong Field. Derby held scoreless in the top of the first. The Broncos coming up, and they will lead off with Sam Lane, the center fielder. Dylan Muka bats second. Clayton Dalrymple gets his second straight start after a month-long injury. He's the DH. Michael Muka, the right fielder, bats fourth. Wade Stramp is fifth. Cameron Knight catching, batting sixth. Trevor Ezell playing third base, batting seventh. Morgan Oliver at short, batting eighth. And Levi Parker, the second baseman, bats ninth for El Dorado.
In the field for the Derby Twins tonight, in left field, Dylan Dillard. Center field is Jared Flaxen, and right field is Jacob Swiney. At third base is Gus Strunk. The shortstop tonight, Juan Rivera. Let's go with at the shortstop is Tanner Kirk. At second base is Juan Rivera. At first base is Ross Grosvenor. Catching the ball tonight is Brian Choi from starting pitcher Lagdi Zotika. There we go.
And we saw Zotika in that 16-inning game come in late relief. In fact, came in the 13th inning, and we kind of assumed he might be their shutdown guy, maybe their closer, because Derby had taken a 1-run lead in the 13th at 7-6. And Levi Parker with a 2-strike, 2-out single tied the game up off of Zotika, who now gets to start tonight. It's Sam Lane leading it off for the Broncos, and a swing and a miss. And Derby had the luxury, Avery, of getting last night off, where the Broncos, after that 16-inning game, had to come back and play Wellington again. They lost 7-1.
One thing with Zotika here is the Broncos hitters need to be patient because he's kind of a wild.
He can bring the gas, and he did there. A strike on the outside corner. No balls and 2 strikes. Home half of the first. 0-0. Sam Lane leading it off. He'll be followed by Dylan Muka and Clayton Dalrymple. And the pitch to Lane on the corner. Strike 3. Nicely thrown in there by Zotika. First pitch was probably the best pitch to hit. The next two, Avery, were really right there on the corner, well placed by Zotika, and not looking for that waste pitch on 0-2. He just went right after him. So here's Dylan Muka from Southern Illinois University out of Centennial, Colorado. 5'10", 155, and a hit up the middle. Rivera smothers it, throws it over to first, not in time. That'll be a base hit for Dylan Muka. Great effort by Juan Rivera. And I think if that ball doesn't get away from Rivera after that dive, he might have a better chance. He kind of had to reach for it. He never could get to his feet. And he threw a strike, but just didn't have a lot on it. And Muka runs well.
Muka does run well. And, yeah, like you said, if the ball wouldn't have got away from him there, and if he would have just caught it clean in his glove, he probably would have got Muka, or at least it would have been a closer play.
So, over at first base is Dylan Muka, and that brings up Clayton Dalrymple, who had a couple of hits in his return to the lineup last night. Here's the pitch, and it's high, ball one. Clayton suffering a hand or finger injury early in the season. Has finally been able to work his way back to where he can swing the bat. Still can't throw the ball yet, but he can grip a bat. And he had a double and a single last night. 2 of the Broncos' 6 hits. Muka is going. Dalrymple hits it. A perfect hit and run. Muka on his way to third and dropping it out in right field for a moment was Swinney. And now he gets it in. It's a beautifully executed hit and run by Clayton Dalrymple.
And now coming up is Michael Muka, the right fielder who just came up with a huge outfield assist in the top of the first inning and throwing out Tanner Kirk at home. So we'll see if he can get the Broncos on the board now.
Arguably, maybe their hottest hitter right now. Dylan Muka held that mantle for a little bit, and I think Michael might have taken it over. First and third with one away here in the bottom of the first. Dalrymple is stealing. Choi fires it down there. Dalrymple's got it stolen, though. They threw it down. Figured they would take their chance at getting Clayton. And Clayton made it. That's one thing I've missed with Dalrymple out of the lineup. Not only his hitting, but he can steal bases, which is interesting for a number 3 hitter. So here's Michael Muka with 2 runners in scoring position here in the bottom of the first inning. No score between the Twins and the Broncos. And Muka chops one foul the other way. So it's no balls and 2 strikes. Ladji Zotika on the hill from Abilene Christian University. His hometown is Wallace, Texas. Here's the 0-2, and a foul tip into the glove of Brian Choi, and a huge strikeout there for Zotika. So now Wade Stramp comes up.
Now to play at Applied Christian College, your first baseman, number 19, Wade Stramp.
Stramp faced Zotika on Sunday night. In one at bat, he flew out to center field. No, that's a ball. 1 ball and no strikes here to Wade Stramp. Stramp started at first Sunday night, was not in the lineup last night, and he's back at first base tonight. Here's the 1-0 pitch from Zotika, high and away, 2-0. I think the first time, this is one of the first times I ever have seen the Bronco lineup minus Jonathan Schmitz and Zach Fields at the same time.
Yeah, we'll see how that fares for the Broncos tonight. 2 power hitters.
Who have really been struggling, though. 2 runners in scoring position. Here's the pitch from Zotika, just off the plate, 3-0. Cameron Knight will be next if Stramp can reach for the Broncos. In the orange vests and black shirts tonight. 3-0 pitch from Ladji Zotika. That's off the plate. So a 4-pitch walk to Wade Stramp. And here comes Cameron Knight, the Oklahoma City native who goes to school here in El Dorado at Butler County. Comes up. So both teams getting bases loaded 2-out opportunities here in the first inning. Grosvenor popped out to end the first inning for Derby as they were held scoreless. Now can Cameron Knight write a different tune here for the Broncos in the bottom of the first? They'll play him straight away, maybe slightly to pull. That's about it. Here's the pitch and a good swing and a miss from Knight. He had a good hack at it. But he missed it. No balls and 1 strike. Off day tomorrow. El Dorado's at Derby on Thursday. We're back on the air Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for Parents Weekend. The Liberal BJs will be in town. Ladji Zotika up 0-1, now up 0-2. High swinging strike there from Knight. Now he's got to go into protect mode. No balls and 2 strikes. 2 singles in this inning, 2 strikeouts, and 1 walk. Zotica's got his sign. And the 0-2 pitch is right down the middle, strike 3. So both starting pitchers able to wiggle out of bases-loaded jams in the first inning. For El Dorado, no runs on 2 hits, no errors, 3 left. We're through 1. Broncos and Twins tied at 0. And welcome back here to El Dorado. Avery mentioned the absence in the El Dorado lineup of Zach Fields and Jonathan Schmitz, who have both been struggling with the stick a bit. Also, who we don't see in the Derby lineup, a very good hitter who had a 2-run homer here Sunday night, Tyler Eager, who left Sunday's game after crashing into the center field wall. And he might still be a little tight from that. That was a pretty wicked crash job.
Yeah, it was a pretty good collision.
Neville flares one out to right field. A sliding catch made by Michael Muka to retire Colin Neville.
Muka coming in big with his defense tonight, already throwing the man out at home, and now a sliding grab to get out Neville and make the Twins not have a leadoff runner.
And he's looking right into the sun. That's a tough play there. Off the bat, Neville had a good swing at it. He just didn't catch it very good, and it was just flaring right over the second baseman's head, Levi Parker. And here comes Michael Muka with the diving catch, or the sliding catch, I should say. Here's a strike 1 pitch to Brian Choi, the catcher tonight. We saw Orth here for most of the game Sunday. Orth went 15 innings. Choi came in the 16th to catch, and now Brian gets to start tonight. He's a right-hander, 6 foot, 200-pound kid from the University, UC San Diego, from Laguna Niguel, California. So this warm weather probably doesn't faze him at all. Down in the count here, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nick Schumann from Arizona with the start here tonight. Mesa Junior College, the 1-2 pitch, goes off speed. Choi able to flip it foul out of the stadium.
Almost hit a youngster walking to his game. That was very close.
Yeah,
he heard something behind him. He didn't know what happened.
The youngster's bat bag is bigger than he is. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Curveball outside corner, strike 3. So Choi goes down looking. Didn't quite believe it. But good curve there from Schumann, and now 2 away, and here comes Sunday night's losing pitcher who's playing third base tonight, Gus Strunk. He is from Mulvane. So Nick Schumann, left-handed pitcher, retiring the first 2 here in the top of the second inning. We've got no score. Schumann's first pitch down and in, ball 1. And Schumann working quickly tonight. The 1-0 pitch is whistled out to right field. Muka on the run makes the catch. An efficient 1-2-3 inning, and Michael Muka with 2 very nice catches for the Broncos. We head to the home half of the second inning. No score between Derby and El Dorado. Broncos and Twins. They were a much different start tonight than we had on Sunday. At this point, Sunday night, it was 6-1 Derby, and looked like it was going to be a long night. It was a long night, but it was a victorious night for El Dorado.
Yes.
Here tonight, no score going to the bottom of the second.
Yeah, no score here. I'd like to encourage everyone to comment and tell us where they're listening from tonight and who you're cheering for or rooting for, whether it be a team or a player. We'd like to get the comments, so get them coming.
Yeah, we love to hear who folks might be watching tonight, and we're there. Usually they say, well, we're in Arizona, and we're watching from out here. We love to hear where you're listening from and who you're cheering for.
And we invite any Derby fans.
Absolutely.
You guys can comment as well, but everybody.
We are fans of both. There's the 1-0 pitch to Trevor Ezell, fouled off for a strike. And if any of you watching tonight and listening are new to this and you're looking at your video saying, my goodness, that's dark. Well, we're working off a webcam, and the shadows when they're covering a home plate, and then you have the contrast with the sunlight. There's really nothing we can do about that. Once the sun goes down and the lights are on here, it becomes way easier to see. So if it's your first time watching, there's just not a whole lot we can do. If you're watching Brian Choi at catcher or watching Trevor Ezell bat, you probably can barely see him, but you can see everyone in the sunlight pretty good. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ladgi Zotika, the starter tonight for Derby. He is ahead 1-2 on Trevor Ezell, and the pitch, Ezell laces it right out to Jared Flax in center field for the first out of the inning. Trevor hit it well, but right at Flax. He barely had to move for it. So here comes Morgan Oliver, the shortstop.
Lots of similarities between the two pitchers going back to the first inning. Both pitchers at least had 1 strikeout. They both faced 6 batters, and they both got out of bases-loaded jams.
And then Neville flew out to right to lead off the top of the second. Ezell for El Dorado flies out to center to lead off the bottom of the second inning. So if all goes to plan, let's see, Troy struck out looking. That would mean Morgan will strike out swinging maybe here if everything's going this way. But
hopefully not.
Yeah. Morgan Oliver at the plate from Central Michigan University. Morgan, boy, he was really hitting the ball well for a while, but his average has dropped all the way down to 202 now.
It all evens out in baseball, it seems like.
Yeah. You're gonna have hot streaks. You're gonna have peaks. You're gonna have valleys. Zotika falls behind here 2-0 to Morgan Oliver. Levi Parker is on deck for the Broncos. Oliver continues to lead the team in RBIs with 21. Morgan also is second on the team in games played, although right now he's tied Jonathan Schmitz. Schmitz has played 27 games this year, and Oliver, this is his 27th game now. So, of course, Schmitz still could come into the game and pinch hit or something. 2 balls and a strike here to Morgan Oliver. Zotika from the stretch will pitch, and Oliver down the third base line. It's just foul. Nice sliding play over there by Gus Drunk. And if that's fair, Strunk probably has a pretty fair shot at throwing out Oliver. Instead, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Final meeting between these teams here in El Dorado. Zotika's got his sign. Here comes the 2-2. That's outside. Ball 3. So 3-2 to Morgan Oliver. Zotika has 3 strikeouts already. Struck out the side in the first inning. Mashed between 2 singles and a walk. So 3 balls and 2 strikes to Oliver. Zotika brings it home. Curveball, and it's a swinging strikeout. There you go. I called it, Avery.
Okay, so last half inning, Gus Strunk flied out to right field. So Levi Parker.
Well, since Azell flew out to center, I'm going to say Parker flies out to center then, if we're going to kind of have the similarities going. Parker likes to go the opposite way. Zotika brings in a pitch, strike 1 as he fouls it off. This was the matchup in the 13th inning, you might remember. 2 strikes, 2 outs, El Dorado down 1. Cameron Knight at second base, and Levi Parker dropped in a single to score Knight and continue baseball here at the McDonald Stadium. Parker squares around, and that's a strike. No balls and 2 strikes. Parker's first at bat last night, he laid down a beautiful drag bunt on the first base line, and it was an infield single against Wellington. So no balls and 2 strikes. Infielders now back up. No worries of a bunt now. Zotika brings it in, and Parker spoils it. Fouls it over the Bronco dugout, right into the tree. So no balls, 2 strikes. It remains 0-0 between Derby and El Dorado. Zotika brings it home, and the curveball looked like it clipped Levi Parker. So Parker will head down to first base. And here comes Sam Lane. Lane struck out in the first inning looking, and there was really quick work by Zotika, who threw one down the middle that Lane swung and missed at, and then he painted the corner twice as Lane was caught looking on both of those to retire him in the first out of the first inning. So Parker down at first base. 4 strikeouts and 2 walks already for Latke Zotika. Zotika, a long look, and Parker gets a good lead. Sam Lane a swing and a miss. Lane's triple in the 16th inning was a huge hit. And 1 out later, scored on Michael Muka's game-winning single to beat Derby here on Sunday night. No balls and a strike to Sam Lane, and Parker's going. Lane is swinging and fouling it into the parking lot. So no balls and 2 strikes. Shadows in both dugouts, so whoever's in the dugout is resting in some nice shade. Most of the field, as you can see, covered in sunlight. Gus Strunk over at thirds in the shadows. Sam Lane down 0-2. Here's a throw over to check on Levi Parker, who's back safely. Derby will bring the top of their lineup up in the 3rd inning with Flax, Kirk, and Dillard. 0-0, bottom of the 2nd inning. 2 away for the Broncos with Levi Parker, who reached on a HBP, and he's stealing. Sam Lane pops it straight up. Grosvenor's trying to find it. He is camped under it and makes the catch. So, no runs, no hits, no errors. There was 1 man left on base. We're through 2 innings from McDonald Stadium. Derby and El Dorado, scoreless. We're back in a moment here on YouTube. two scoreless frames to start off this game. Zotika and Schumann both have been pretty good, and as you kind of described, Avery, did describe, both able to wiggle out of bases loaded, 2-out jams in the first inning. Both had relatively easy second inning, so we'll see what the third inning has to offer, and here's Avery Olson with the call.
Schumann, the Broncos starting pitcher, will see the number 1, 2, and 3 hole batters here in the top of the third inning. Flax, Kirk, and Dillard. The first pitch from Schumann, a bunt, and Parker races over to first. He's not there in time. Perfectly placed bunt by Jared Flax, almost identical to the one we saw Levi Parker hit last night, and almost right at the second baseman, but Parker was so far back with his heels in the grass, there was no way he could get there.
Well, and the lefty Schumann falls off to the third base side of the mound, so there's a great gap there, and really well done there by Jared Flax.
And now Tanner Kirk, who has Trevor Rizal creeping way up, and maybe a bunt. He pulls around for the bunt, but then pulls it back. 1-0.
Cameron Knight there, Avery, was tempted to throw it on to first, but again, it's risky. Wade Stramp's looking right into the sun. That's really a tough part of the night to try to pick someone off of first base if you're Cameron Knight.
1 ball, no strikes from Nick Schumann. Pitch is hit way high in the air. Over to Morgan Oliver, the shortstop. He comes down with the ball, and 1 down. But yeah, back to that play by a good no-throw by Cameron Knight. If that ball somehow does get past Stramp at first, you're looking at probably Flax with his speed getting to third, standing up, and you never know, even maybe trying to go home. He probably wouldn't with no outs. But a good play there from Cameron Knight just to hold on to the ball and let Schumann go to work.
Were you surprised to see Derby take the bunt off and let Kirk swing away there? Thought they might play some small ball. We see Wellington do it all the time.
I was going to say, we've seen a lot of small ball, and a little surprising there. As Flax takes second, a high pitch. A good throw gets him, and he gets his right foot in. So Flax on second with a stolen base. Dylan Dillard, the batter who had a base hit back in the first. Juan Rivera on deck. The 3, 4, 5 hitters in the first inning all had base hits. 1 ball, no strikes to Dylan Dillard. 1-0 pitch from Schumann. Inside 2-0. That last pitch that Flax was running on was almost a pitch out. Schumann, it was a high throw, so Knight was already stood up when he made the throw, but with Flax's speed and a good jump, got his foot in. 2 balls and no strikes to Dylan Dillard. The pitch. Right down the middle. 2-1. We mentioned Dillard getting hit 5 times. I think the first and second one he wasn't necessarily okay with, but it didn't get him too fired up. But by the third, fourth, and then the fifth one, he was not very happy that he had gotten hit all of those times as expected. But a lot of those hits, side of the arm or hit him on the left side of the leg. Nothing too vicious, up high.
And at times, I mean, I think you could see Dylan leaning just a hair in there. You know, he sees a curveball coming in, not breaking that sharply. You know, he's a strong kid up there. That's not going to bother him, a glancing curveball off the arm. I think the one that kind of got him on the forearm was the only one that really bothered him.
Because that one is pretty far inside, and he kind of, and you're right, he really dips that left arm whenever any curveball is coming in pretty close. That one goes in for a strike, so 2-2. But as the smart baseball player that Dillard is, he knows you get hit by a pitch, it's a on base, and that's what you really need is getting people on base in this game and causing some havoc. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jared Flax on second, 1 out here in the top of the third inning. We are tied at 0. The 2-2 pitch from Nick Schumann as he stares at the runner at second. Comes home, swings and misses. Dillard doesn't realize it. It takes a good bounce for Cameron Knight. Flax comes home. The throw, not in time. So the Twins have a strikeout, but Flax still comes home. So that's pretty much just as good as a base hit there, Kurt.
That is a strange one there. Flax never hit the brakes. There's no error anywhere. It's a strikeout and recorded 2-3. But, you know, you wouldn't want Knight not to throw down to first and get Dillard out. It's just great base running by Jared Flax. That's all there is to it.
2 outs. And Juan Rivera.
No RBI or anything, obviously. It's just a pat on the back and a first run for Derby.
Ball hit to Azell at second, or at third. Takes a weird bounce, and he throws it past Stramp at first. A pretty harmless ball at first, it looked like. It took a weird spin on that ball. And then Azell, having to range too far to his left, made a bad throw over to Stramp at first. It gets past him, and Juan Rivera is on second.
Well, it's been ruled a hit and an error, although, I mean, I know there's some funky spin on there. That's probably a play that is just a straight-out error, but a hit and an error will be given to Juan Rivera.
So Rivera on second. Schumann's pitch is hit down the third base line. It's fair. Rivera to second. Swiney in the second with a double. So the Twins take advantage of the error with a double, and now Ross Grosvenor. So 2-0 Twins.
Now, we've seen teams constantly take advantage of the opportunities that El Dorado affords the opponent, and there the error allows Rivera to get to second. He scores on the next pitch on a double by Swiney.
Another ball hit to Azell at third. A throw over to Stramp. He can't come up with it, but then came off the base, maintained the ball. Then he dropped the ball again, but the umpire said he had it in time with his foot on the bag. And the Broncos get out of it here in the top of the third. The Twins still put up 2 runs. They lead by 2. We head to the bottom of the third with the Broncos coming up to bat.
Looking up is hitting for your Dorado Broncos, your left fielder, number 4, Dylan Muka.
The Broncos coming to bat after the Twins put up 2 runs in their half of the third inning. And the Broncos, Dylan Muka, Clayton Dalrymple, and Michael Muka. The minimum amount of batters the Broncos will have this half inning.
Avery Trevor Azell made a nice stab to make that play there to end the third inning. Grosvenor doesn't run that well. I think Azell had more time. If he would have just, he could have made a much better throw. He was still able, he hurried it. Stramp had to really do a juggling act and keep his foot on the base, but he was able to do so and get the Broncos out of the visiting half of the third inning.
No balls and 1 strike to Dylan Muka. He shows bunt over to third, and not a good throw. And a base hit. I'm going to say base hit.
Yeah, that's a base hit. Tough play for Gus Strunk. Even a good throw, I'm not sure gets him there, Avery. Really well done there by Dylan Muka to get things going here in the 3rd inning.
And now Clayton Dalrymple. So Muka starts the inning on first, and we'll see if the Broncos can put something together here in the bottom of the 3rd against Lagdi Zotika. The first pitch to Dalrymple. In there, 0-1.
Just the 8th game for Clayton on the season. Of course, had that hand injury early on, but batting nearly .600 on the season.
Looks to improve that here at this at-bat. 0-1 pitch. Gets the call. 0-2. Both pitches right at the knees. 2 strikes on Dalrymple. Michael Muka, the right fielder, is on deck. Oh-2 pitch from Zotika. High, 1-2. Derby coming into this game in league play 13-8. The Broncos 7-16. Broncos really trying to make a move to that 3rd spot in the league. 1-2 pitch, check swing. Dalrymple went too far. And the first out in the top of the 3rd. The Broncos 5 games behind 3rd. Hayes is the current team in 3rd, and they are 12-11. Liberal is in 4th at 10-13, and then the Broncos in Dodge City in the cellar at 6-17. So 1 down for Michael Muka. First pitch to him is low, 1-0.
Rivera plays very close to second base, Avery, and of course Grosvenor holding on Dylan Muka. There's a giant hole between first and second for left-handed swinging Michael Muka, if he can find it.
1 ball and no strikes. Ball thrown over to first by Zotika. Not in time. But as we've mentioned many times before, that fence is so far back from first base, it's really a risk for a pitcher to throw it with much steam over there. 1 ball, no strikes. The pitch to Muka is way high, 2-0. I think pitchers know that they can check a runner and just kind of soft toss it over to first. But to really make a good play over there is really putting that first baseman sometimes in a bad spot, especially right now looking into the sun. 2 balls and no strikes from Zotika. Finds the outside corner, 2-1.
Of course, for the base runner, knowing the sun's there and you don't want to get too, the pitcher probably doesn't want to throw one past him. Does that allow the base runner then to get even a better lead, knowing that he can get back on a soft toss?
2 balls and 1 strike. It's a hit and run to the second baseman, and a pretty easy double play as the ball is hit very hard and in time for the double play. We head to the top of the 4th. Twins 2, Broncos nothing. More play-by-play coming up here from McDonald Stadium.
I usually just see the top of your head every now and then down there. See your back a lot.
Yeah.
Nick Schumann taking his final warm-up pitch. We invite you to comment on the video. Just right underneath this video, comment and tell us who you are, where you're listening from, who you're listening for. Love to hear from you. We love getting comments, whether it be from El Dorado Bronco fans and parents or the opposing team, in this instance, the Derby Twins. We'd love to hear if you're tuning in here tonight for this game on a very nice Tuesday night as Schumann delivers a strike, 0-1. So right underneath this video, just comment, and a lot of them we like to give shout-outs to, and just fun to see who's listening. And, you know, we have listeners from Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, all around the United States. 1-1. 2, Colin Neville misses on a pitch. 1-2, the designated hitter. Flying out to right field. Back in the second inning. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The pitch swung on and missed. Strikeout for Nick Schumann. 1 out here in the 4th. And now Brian Choi, the catcher, who struck out looking in the second inning. No balls, no strikes. The first pitch is hit to Morgan Oliver. The shortstop takes a bad hop on him, and Choi, who doesn't run great, still makes it, as Oliver couldn't find that one after it hit his glove. It took a tough hop. And an error on Morgan Oliver, and now Gus Strunk. No balls, no strikes here. Strunk waiting the first pitch from Nick Schumann. First pitch to him in the turf. A good scoop from Cameron Knight to make sure that ball didn't get past him. Break up any chances for a double play. Strunk starts off ahead 1-0. One ball, no strike to Gus Strunk. The next pitch is hit out to center field. Sam Lane makes a diving catch. What a play by Sam Lane. He really caught that ball right off the bat and really started lumbering forward. Made a sliding grab on his stomach. And now the top of the lineup for the Twins and Jared Flax. Flax. No balls, no strikes, 2 outs. First pitch to him, up high, 1-0. Choi on first, got a pretty good lead, 2 or 3 steps. Stramp holding him on. 1 ball, no strike, the pitch. Trying to check a swing, and he doesn't go. 2 balls and no strike. Chad Gerwick saying that ball, or the bat hit the ball there. Home plate umpire is going to go talk with the other umpire and see if anything went there. Puts his hands up. So it looks like they're going to stay with the initial call. 2 balls and no strikes to Jared Flax, who is 1 for 2 tonight. 1 strike. Or excuse me. I don't know exactly what they called. The scoreboard now says 2 balls and 1 strike. The next pitch is fouled off. 2-2. At least that's what the scoreboard says. 2 balls, we'll go with it. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Choi on first. Jared Flax, the batter. Pitch from Nick Schumann. The runner's going, and it's right down the middle. A great pitch from Nick Schumann to get Jared Flax looking for the second time tonight. Flax strikes out. So we head to the bottom of the 4th. Twins 2, Broncos nothing. More play-by-play coming up here from McDonald Stadium.
All right, Broncos fans, we've got some Broncos players wandering around in the stands over here on the third base side, selling 50-50 tickets. Be sure to dig deep in your pockets, get some money out, buy some tickets. 3 tickets for $1, 10 for $2. It's your opportunity to win half the pot, total amount raised at the end of the night. The other half goes to support the Broncos baseball program. So get some money out. These guys will come over and talk to you, and they'll tell you all about how their summer's going right here on the radio. Again, 3 tickets for $1, 10 for $2. The 50-50 draw.
Lagdi Zotika comes back out here in the 4th inning. He's pitched very well. Shutout ball through 3 innings, only giving up 3 hits thus far. Broncos coming up with Wade Stramp, Cameron Knight, and Trevor Azell. Stramp walked back in the 1st. Zotika puts his foot on the rubber, and he's ready to go. First pitch to Stramp, fouled off to the left side, 0-1. No balls and a strike from Lagdi Zotika. Next pitch, just a little outside, 1-1. One ball, 1 strike to first baseman Wade Stramp. The next pitch hit down the left field line, and it drops for a base hit. Wade Stramp on his way to second, and a stand-up double for Wade. A good way to start off this bottom of the 4th inning. And now Cameron Knight.
Number 7, Cameron Knight.
Dylan Dillard looked like he had a good jump on that ball just at the last moment. Couldn't exactly find where it was, and I'm sure it's hard for a left fielder right now. Part of his area is shaded, and part of it is in the sun. So as he was running, he had to adjust his eyes real quick and try and catch that ball. First pitch to Cameron Knight is missed, 0-1. No balls and 1 strike tonight as he fouls one off to the right side. And Zotika jumps ahead, 0-2. Knight struck out looking for the 3rd out in the 1st inning. Right now we're in the bottom of the 4th. The 0-2 pitch from Zotika. Upstairs, 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Bronco catcher Cameron Knight. The next pitch, curveball. High and inside, evens up the count at 2-2. Trevor Zell waits on deck. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Next pitch from Zotica is chopped on the third base line. Zotika's going to try to let it go foul, and it stops. Fair ball. A smart play there by Zotica. He probably wasn't going to get Knight at first, so instead of picking it up and maybe making a wild throw, just let it be and see if it would roll foul, and it didn't. So the Broncos first and third with no outs. And Trevor Zell flied out to center in the second inning. Knight on first, Stramp on third. Runners on the corners, nobody out here in the bottom of the fourth inning. The pitch to Zell, low and outside, 1-0. One ball, no strike to Azell. The next pitch at the shins, 2-0. Knight, a 2-step lead off first. 2 balls and no strikes. The pitch goes past the catcher, but it hits off the concrete backstop. So the runner at third, Wade Stramp, doesn't advance and doesn't score a run at home, but what that does is Cameron Knight moved up from first to second and takes out any force play possibilities for the moment. But a 3-0 count right now to Trevor Azell. So Azell way ahead here in this at-bat, 3-0 to Zotica. The pitch finds the outside corner, 3-1. Three balls and 1 strike. The next pitch is chopped to the second baseman. He's going to thought about coming home with it. He took 2 steps towards the plate and then thought better of himself and just got the out at first. So Wade Stramp scores from third. Cameron Knight moves up to third. And Trevor Azell is the first man retired in the bottom of the fourth. And now shortstop Morgan Oliver. The Broncos potentially could tie the game up here in the bottom of the fourth inning. The runner just 90 feet away. First pitch in this at bat to Oliver. In there, 0-1. No balls and 1 strike from Zotica. The ball is hit out to right field. Swiney makes a tough basket catch. And the Broncos tie this one up with a sacrifice fly from Morgan Oliver. So Swiney, once he figured out how far it was going to be out in the outfield, he really just focused on making the catch instead of trying to maybe set his feet and just letting that runner score. So that's the situational baseball hitting that we have not seen the Broncos have here the last 2 weeks, and it's finally coming back within the last couple of games. Levi Parker hits one to the shortstop. He's got wheels, but he's going to be thrown out by a step. But the Broncos do some damage. They tie the game up here at 2. We head to the top of the 5th inning. Twins 2, Broncos 2. More play-by-play coming up.
Leading off this inning, number 3, Tanner Kirk.
So we go into the top half of the 5th inning. Broncos and Twins tied up at 2 in a good one as the sun starts to hit descent. More shadows shining here coming through at McDonald Stadium and Bradlong Field. The first pitch, a ball to Tanner Kirk. And he swings and misses at strike 2. Check that. Is that Tanner Kirk? Did I put the right number in my... Here's the pitch. Whistled past Dazelle at third base. It is Kirk. I put the wrong number in my scorebook here. Great hit there by Kirk. A whistling single past the diving Trevor Azell, and that'll bring up the always dangerous Dylan Dillard. Dillard, a single and a strikeout tonight. Dillard in the first game this year between these two teams, won by El Dorado 22-8. Dillard homered twice in that one. So he certainly has that kind of power. El Dorado has 2 wins over Derby this year. Derby has 8 losses in league play. They've lost to Wellington, I think, 4 or 5 times already this year. So Derby's done really good then, you would imagine, as they've lost to El Dorado and Wellington a handful of times. They've done really well against the West, not really the West Coast teams, but the western part of the state, Hayes, Liberal, Dodge City. Nick Schumann giving Chad Gerwick exactly what he needed, innings, as he enters the 5th inning here in a 2-2 game. Schumann outside, ball 1. We do invite your comments. Haven't seen anything really come across the board yet. If you're watching on YouTube, you can just drop us a line there. We'd love to hear from you, hear who you're rooting for, what team, what player. Maybe just like watching baseball. We had someone commenting last night that we didn't recognize at all. Then wanted to know if we were going to Florida to cover a game. I didn't know any of these teams were going to be playing in Florida. Outside pitch, 2 balls, 2 strikes. First base coach having to shield that glimmer of sunlight that's coming through right over to first base. So if he can barely see the third base coach, you can just know it's tough on the runner over there, Tanner Kirk, also the first baseman, Wade Stramp. Stramp and Knight both scoring in the 4th inning for the Broncos. Schumann's 2-2 pitch, swung, and now it's 2-2. I was all excited, thought we had a strikeout there. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Dylan Dillard. Waiting on deck is Juan Rivera. Tanner Kirk, boy, just a few steps off the base is all sunlight over there. Here's Nick Schumann, the lefty, and he delivers a pitch. Running is Kirk, and Dillard fouls one off. So we'll do it again. Been a rough little homestand here for the Broncos. They lost 9-2 here Saturday to Hayesville. Won Sunday in 16 innings, 8-7, and lost 7-1 last night. And Dillard takes time. Even though the Broncos are 1-2 in those games, they have their only lead against Derby on Sunday night was the game winner. They trailed the entire game. That was their only lead. They never led against Hayesville, and they never led last night. Here's running his Kirk. Ball is spiked into the turf, and an easy stolen base for Tanner Kirk. So in these 4 in the end, the Broncos have not had a lead here tonight, as Derby drew first blood, scoring twice in the 3rd inning to take a 2-0 lead before El Dorado tied it in the 4th inning here at 2. So they've only had one lead in the 3 and almost a half games of this 4-game homestand. Dylan Dillard getting himself set in the box. Long look in here from Nick Schumann. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe time called here. Yep, and it'll be from Schumann. Both starters have been pretty good. Both wiggled out of some trouble in the 1st inning. Bases loaded jams for both, and both were able to get out of it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Nick Schumann dealing with Dylan Dillard, the left fielder, and the pitch is fouled off by Dillard. Schumann came with the curveball, and Dillard wasn't fooled, but that ball came breaking in on his hands, and he fought it off. Juan Rivera in the on-deck circle. And if anyone gets on, Jacob Swinney will get up there. Beautiful night here at the complex. Numerous cars, parents here to watch Bronco baseball as well as youth baseball out there past right field. A couple of fields out there. Here's a 2-2 pitch from Schumann. And I guess that was a 3-2 pitch. That glare was right on. I thought it was a 2. It was a full count and a walk to Dylan Dillard. So now it's Juan Rivera with 2 on and no one out. Kirk down at second base, Dillard at first. Juan Rivera is 2 for 2 tonight. He has scored a run. Left-handed batter Rivera against the left-handed pitching Nick Schumann, and the corners play in for El Dorado. And Rivera is swinging and popped it into foul territory. Azell over by the dugout, and he's going to run out of room. David Albritton with hands on hips staring here at Juan Rivera, and now he's going to call him down. I do not think that's what Coach Albritton was looking for there. He had a look of disgust. And you would imagine in a close game, I know Rivera's batting 4th tonight, and I know he's 2 for 2. But you would imagine the play here is to lay down a bunt to get those runners to 2nd and 3rd and give Swinney and Grosvenor a chance to drive them in. It was Rivera who missed a sign in this loss on Sunday night for Derby. So now Azell plays in, but if it's bunted towards him, he'll go get it. Otherwise, he's going to go back to 3rd. And here's a curveball outside. Ball 1, strike 1. Stramp is crashing in from first base. Ideally for the Broncos, you get a hard bunt back to the pitcher or to Stramp, and they go to 3rd to try to get the lead runner, Tanner Kirk, who's getting a really nice lead off the second base. And here comes the pitch from Schumann. It's popped into the air. Azell coming in, makes a diving catch. What a play by Trevor Azell, and now he says, can he get some time? You can even see down below the marks, his knees really dug into that turf, and of course the midsection area there too as well. That talk about laying out for your team there, and that's exactly what Trevor Azell just did. Tremendous play by Azell, and that's the first out of the inning. Jacob Swinney comes up, the right fielder. What did, let's see, Swinney in his first at bat, it was a single. So Swinney comes up 2 for 2. Kirk remains at second. Dillard over at first, and a swing and a miss from Swinney.
Number 5, Jacob Swinney.
Swinney singled in the first inning, didn't drive anyone in, and he was on base. He was one of the members on base when they were loaded when Grosvenor popped out to end the first inning. Here's a pitch from Schumann, and behind and fouling it off is Swinney. So no balls and 2 strikes. Schumann would love a ground ball in the infield or a strikeout here of Swinney. 2-2. Derby and Wellington were in the top of the 5th inning. And Nick Schumann, the lefty, is set. Takes a look over at second. Here's the pitch, and inside, ball 1. Very nearly clipped Swinney there. And hitting batters has been a real issue for El Dorado here in this homestand. Of course, Dillard was hit 5 times Sunday night, along with a couple other guys getting hit. A couple of heat batters were hit last night. Foul ball from Swinney. In last night's game against Wellington, 4 straight batters reached by either being walked. Actually, 6 straight batters reached for Wellington by either being walked or hit by pitch. And that just really set a bad tone for the night, and the Broncos eventually lost 7-1. 1 ball and 2 strikes here to Swinney, the right-handed swinger. And Swinney will step out as Schumann didn't like the big jump and lead that Tanner Kirk had over at second base. Oliver staying put. Levi Parker is the go-to guy. Oh, boy, and a balk has been called. So a balk against Schumann, and that hurts. So now, no double play in order. 1 away against Swinney with 2 strikes on Swinney. Here's the 1-2, and Swinney turns on it and drills it way foul. So 1 ball and 2 strikes it remains. Nick Schumann having one of his better efforts that we have seen so far this year. 1 ball, 2 strikes, runners at second and third. The pitch is, well, it looked like the batter jumped in the plate. Swinney came out of the box, in fact, was on the plate. And that'll be called a hit batsman. So that's the bases loaded. That was very strange. It almost looked like he wanted to get hit there. And here comes a visit. With a 1-2 pitch, that was all over the... I'll have to go back and look at the archive. That sure looked like that was going over the plate, and Swinney stumbled his way kind of in the path of the ball there. Any way to get on, that's what Avery said earlier, and that's a great job by Swinney. So the bases are loaded with 1 away, and Ross Grosvenor is up. Grosvenor's got good power, but he's also a good double play candidate. So it'll be important for Schumann here to Try to stay low in the zone, in the strike zone, and see if they can get Grosvenor to roll over on one. Grosvenor's 0 for 2. A pop out to second base and a ground out to Azell. Trevor made a tremendous play to stab a hard hit ball by Grosvenor. And then maybe even a better play was made by Wade Stramp on that play, as Azell's throw took Stramp off the base and was low. So he had to scoop it and get back on the base, and did both really nicely to get the out and end the third inning. First pitch into the turf. 1 ball, no strikes. Well, we've had a hit batter, we've had a walk, we've had a balk, we've had a diving catch by Trevor Azell, and now a 2-0 count to Grosvenor. No action yet in the El Dorado bullpen. They used 6 pitchers here Sunday night, and then they used another 4 pitchers last night. And they used 4 or 5 Saturday night against Hayesville. Here's a pitch. Grosvenor, a foul tip into Knight's glove, a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike. Really a very comfortable evening for baseball. Breeze. Well, there was a breeze out there. The flag now resting calmly above the scoreboard out in right center field. 2 balls and 1 strike. Schumann inside, ball 3, and now Nick's really got to bear down. Only 1 hit in the inning for Derby, but they've got the bases loaded in a 3-1 count to first baseman Ross Grosvenor. Right-handed stick is Grosvenor. Schumann, the left-handed pitcher. Here is the 3-1, and that's outside. And a free pass will drive in the 3rd run of the game for Derby. Heading down to second is Swinney. Over to third, Dylan Dillard, and Tanner Kirk trots across home plate. And Colin Neville now up. Neville 0 for 2 tonight. Struggled here Sunday. In fact, hit into a inning-ending double play with the bases loaded Sunday. The Broncos would like to repeat that here, but the first pitch is inside, a ball. Colin Neville goes to Central Missouri. He's the young man from Goddard, Kansas, just a suburb of West Wichita. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and that's off the plate. No, it's not. It's on the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. Bit of a slow call there from the home plate umpire. Right now, the toughest part of the field to field, probably Michael Mook out in right field. And here's a pitch inside, and Schumann nearly hit Neville. Brian Choi waits on deck for the Derby Twins, who have taken a 3-2 lead here in the 5th inning. Long taxing at bats here by the Twins. Here's the 2-1 pitch, and it's fouled off. 2 balls and 2 strikes. So 2-2 for Nick Schumann here against Colin Neville. Neville is set. Here's the pitch. And on the corner, strike 3. Neville didn't like it, but he'll be rung up for the 2nd time tonight. So 2 away. That's a huge strikeout for Schumann. And now here comes, looks like we're going to have a pitching change with right-handed swinging Brian Choi coming up. So a new pitcher coming in for El Dorado. 3-2 Derby. Back in a moment here on YouTube.
Coming in to pitch for your El Dorado Broncos out of Mesa Junior College, number 18, Josh Murtha. Broncos fans, we got some players walking around selling 50-50 tickets. 3 tickets for $1 or 10 for $2. Get your money out and wave it around. They'll come talk to you. You can buy some tickets from them. Ask them how they're enjoying their time playing for the El Dorado Broncos this summer.
So Josh Murtha will inherit a bit of a mess here. 2 away. We're in the top of the 5th inning. Derby leads 3-2. Murtha replacing Nick Schumann. Murtha also goes to Mesa Junior College. He is a resident of Las Vegas. And he'll have to deal with catcher Brian Choi. Not a bad outing for Schumann, but he threw a lot of pitches in just 4 2/3 innings. Right now, he's given up just 3 runs, but all the runners on base are his responsibility. He had 6 strikeouts, but he also had 3 walks, 1 hit batter, and 1 balk. So threw a lot of pitches tonight. And now Murtha, who was the starter and loser here Saturday against Hayesville, a game that Murtha, like I said, started. He went 4 innings that night. Didn't have a great night. He's behind 1-0 here. Murtha to Choi. The pitch laced to left field, a base hit. 1 run in. And now a 2nd run coming in. Dylan Muka's throw will be cut off. And a 2-run single by Brian Choi. So 2 runners in, still 2 on the base pads, and here comes Gus Strunk. Advancing only to second was Grosvenor. Choi is at first base. So one of the gentlemen that walked scores, one that was hit scores, and now Strunk will try to make a trifecta with Grosvenor scoring. Grosvenor walked. Just the 2nd hit of the inning, but 3 runs are in for Derby. They've taken on 2 walks and a hit batter. 5-2 Twins. 5-8-0 for Derby, 2-5-2 for El Dorado. Murtha's pitch in the turf blocked nicely by Cameron Knight. So 1 ball and 1 strike. Gus Strunk, the number 9 batter. In fact, he's the 8th batter of this inning, which has really turned into a very long half inning for the Broncos. 3 across already. Gus Strunk with a 1-1 count. And the pitch, curveball in there for a strike. I think Strunk was ready to take that soft one right off the shoulder, but then it broke into the strike zone for a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Gus Strunk. 2 away in the top of the 5th inning. Murtha's got his signal. And he goes in. Grosvenor stealing. Knight will fire it down to second to get Choi, and Choi's in there safe as Parker couldn't hang on. So Grosvenor and Choi with the double steal for Derby really caught the Broncos by surprise. So 2 balls and 2 strikes now against Gus Strunk. Jared Flax. And the pitch off the plate, ball 3. Five to 2 Twins. Murtha, full count. And the pitch from Josh is swung at and missed by Gus Strunk, and that will end the inning. But 3-run score on 2 hits. No errors, 2 left. We're through 4.5. Derby 5, El Dorado 2. Back in a moment here on YouTube.
All right, Broncos fans, just a reminder, if you can't make it to the game, you can watch and listen to every home game this season. Kirk Cade and Avery Osa deliver an awesome color commentary and play-by-play online. It's free to access. Go to www.youtube.com. Search for Kirk Caden, that's with 2 C's, CURTCADEN, Kirk Caden, and subscribe to his channel for free. We will always post a link on the El Dorado Broncos Facebook page. The games are also archived, so you can go back and watch any Broncos home game. Again, that's youtube.com, search for Kirk Caden. And another reminder, Saturday night, July 12th, is Veterans Night right here at Broncos McDonald Stadium. All veterans are asked to attend the game and be recognized for your service, so please come out Saturday night at 7 o'clock and join us at the ballpark to watch some great baseball and help us honor our veterans by saying thank you for serving our country and protecting our freedoms.
And welcome back to El Dorado, Kansas, McDonald Stadium, home of the Broncos here, and the Broncos will have to go back to work after falling behind 2-0 tonight. They tied it in the 4th with 2 runs, but then in the 5th inning, 3 runs score for Derby. So it's the Twins 5 and the Broncos 2. And that will close the book as well on Nick Schumann, as he is responsible for giving up 5 runs tonight on 7 hits. Like I said, he had 6 strikeouts, but he walked 3 and he hit 1. Sam Lane leads off the top of the 5th inning for the Broncos. He has struck out and popped out to first base. Lodgi Zotika still out there for the Twins, although there is now some activity in their bullpen. Same 2 teams will play Thursday at Derby. We will not have coverage of that game. We're back on the air Friday night and Saturday and Sunday for the Liberal BJs and the El Dorado Broncos. 3 balls and no strikes here to Sam Lane. Zotika was on the bench a long time. That was a long half inning. 2 walks, a hit batter, a balk. So Zotika's kind of got to get loosened back up, and he delivers a strike, and it's 3-1. Zotika, no windup, he just goes from the stretch. And the pitch is in there for strike 2. Lane, Muka, and Dalrymple, the scheduled 3 here for El Dorado. Three-two count. Broncos would love to get the leadoff man on, and the pitch, Lane fists it out to second base. Rivera charges, Fields throws over to first base and retires Sam Lane. First out of the inning. Zotika on that play made a stab at the ball, and probably if he would have hit it or tipped it or something, Lane probably would have got there. But fortunately for Zotika, he was unable to deflect the ball or anything like that, and it went out to Juan Rivera, who made a nice play as he was charging in and made it look relatively easy. So here's Dylan Muka. Dylan is 2 for 2 tonight, 2 singles for Muka. Got all the way to third base in the first inning, did not score. 1 ball and 1 strike. And Zotika's pitch is into the turf. Choi blocks it. Ball 2. And now those of you watching the video, it looks like the shadows are gone, and it'll just keep getting easier and easier to view from here on out. Still some sunlight shining in on the scoreboard out in right center field. That's about it. Been a beautiful day here in El Dorado. Had some light cloud cover for a while, kept temperatures down. Those all traveled to the south, and clear blue sky here. Bouncing ball out to Rivera, an easy play over to first to retire Dylan Muka. So 2 straight groundouts to Juan Rivera. That brings up the designated hitter out of Kansas State University, the leading hitter on the team, although he hasn't had nearly the amount of at-bats, I guess, to maybe qualify as the official batting leader, but his average coming in here tonight, 565, and Clayton is 1 for 2. Clayton Dalrymple, a single in the first, a strikeout in the third. Zotica ready to deal with Dalrymple. Twins lead 5-2, and the first pitch is off the plate, ball 1. These teams that I mentioned a couple times will play again Thursday in Derby. They will play again in Derby on Tuesday, July 22nd. Dalrymple fouls one off, strike 1. The Broncos end the season with 2 games at Wellington on a doubleheader on July 16th, a 3-game road trip to Dodge City, and then that July 22nd trip to Derby. So 2, 5, 6 games to close out the season on the road for El Dorado. Zotica's pitch inside, ball 2. Of course, this has been a nice stretch, 4 straight home games. In fact, 7 of 8 at home for El Dorado. 2 away in the bottom of the 5th inning after a very long, taxing, agonizing top half of the 5th. Derby making quick work here in the bottom of the 5th. Dalrymple a swing and a miss, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Michael Muka waits on deck for El Dorado. Zotica is set. And the pitch is chopped. It's going to be a tough play. Rolling over to Strunk. He'll let it go, and that is a smart play by Gus Strunk. He had no chance to throw at Dalrymple. So, earlier in the game, he let one go, which was also the smart play, and it didn't go foul. Smart play again. This time it does go foul for Gus Strunk. So Dalrymple, after hustling hard down to first, will trot his way back here to home plate. Clayton will get re-stretched out here. Plays at Kansas State. Taking on Ladgi Zotica, who pitches for Abilene Christian. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Zotica from the stretch, and the pitch is all the way to the backstop. 3-2. At top of the 5th, again, a Kirk single, then a walk to Dillard, then a spectacular catch on a sacrifice bunt attempt by Rivera. Swinney was hit by a pitch. Grosvenor walked, and that scored a run. The strikeout of Neville. A 2 RBI single by Brian Choi, really the big hit of the inning. And then Gus Strunk struck out. 3-2 here to Dalrymple. And the pitch stays high, ball 4. So Clayton will go down to first base. And would not be surprised to see him on the move here, try to get into scoring position. 5-2 Derby. Michael Muka struck out tonight and then grounded into a 4-6-3 double play. Really unfortunate. It was a hit and run, so Juan Rivera was ranging towards second anyway, and Muka hit one on the screws, but right to where Rivera was going. So all Juan had to do was scoop it, touch second, or toss it over to second, where Tanner Kirk was, and then over to first. It turned into a very easy double play against a tough guy to double up, Michael Muka. He looks at strike 1. Dalrymple with a good lead, and he's going. Here's the pitch, high. Choi throws it down. A perfect throw by Choi gets Dalrymple to retire the side. No runs, no hits, and no errors, and no one left on base. We're through 5 innings. Derby 5, El Dorado 2. Back in a moment. You're watching and listening to El Dorado Bronco Baseball on YouTube.
All right, Broncos fans. Blackburn Construction sponsors a Dirtiest Car in the Parking Lot contest every night. And tonight's winner is a white Ford Flex, Kansas Plates 294 GAL. So white Ford Flex, Kansas Plates 294 GAL.
And welcome back. We head to the 6th inning, 5-2 Derby. And again, Avery, unfortunately, it's kind of a theme. The theme had been falling behind in the 1st inning. The Broncos fell behind in the 3rd tonight, but that 5th inning, very similar inning to what we saw last night. Just too many walks, too many hit batters, and not forcing the opposition to really earn their way. Brian Choi came through with a big single, and it's 5-2 Twins as we send it over to you.
Yeah, what we've seen from these teams at the top of the Jayhawk League in Derby and Wellington is they will take advantage of your mistakes. And both teams have done so the last couple nights as Flax hits one out to the shortstop, Morgan Oliver. He was ranging behind second base to make the play. One out here in the top of the 6th.
You know, off the bat, I looked out at Sam Lane, figured that was traveling right out to him, but Flax obviously didn't get it very good, and Morgan Oliver showed some good range there to make a nice running catch.
Tanner Kirk, now the batter. He's 1 for 2 tonight. Pitch from Murtha. Gets the outside part of the plate. 0-1. No balls and a strike. Pitch low and inside. 1-1. One ball, one strike, one out. Pitch hit on a rope to center field. Sam Lane makes a good play to cut that off. Going to second is Kirk, and if Parker could have caught that ball at second, he probably would have had a very good chance of getting Kirk. Instead, the ball gets past him, and a double for Tanner Kirk.
And, you know, it's one of those plays, like you described beautifully. Lane played it nicely off the wall. Parker had plenty of time, actually, as it was, just to get that. But as a middle infielder, you just don't expect to have – you figure it's got to be a quick grab and swipe tag. But Parker actually had time. The throw was there in plenty of time by Sam Lane.
Lane made a diving stop out there to make sure the ball didn't get past him. If it does, it's probably a triple. Now Dylan Diller with one out. First pitch to him, barely outside. 1-0. One ball and no strike to Dylan Dillard, who is 1 for 2 tonight. The 1-0 pitch from Murtha is hit out to left center field. It finds the gap. And scoring is Tanner Kirk. Around second is Dillard. He's trying for 3. Oliver's throw off target. A good backup from Murtha. But a triple with an RBI attached for Dylan Dillard. And the Twins lead 6-2.
Hey, Rev. He went 4 innings, gave up 8 hits and 7 runs, and gave up a big single to Choi. Of course, the runs weren't tacked on to Murtha, but now at the plate.
Quade Adams warming up in the Broncos bullpen. Both bullpens are active right now. As Kurt said, Juan Rivera, who was 2 for 3 tonight. Now the batter, the infield in for the Broncos. The first pitch is low to Rivera, 1-0.
You just get the feeling you don't want this to get too much further out of hand here, so you got to try to cut off that runner at third base.
1-0 pitch. High and outside, 2-0. Rivera already 2 singles tonight. 2 balls and no strike. As Murtha steps off the rubber. Two balls and no strikes. The pitch is missed by Rivera. Not a swing that he wanted to use there. It was a check swing, but he went all the way through. 2 balls and 1 strike. 1 out here in the top of the 6th. Dylan Dillard on third. The 2-1 pitch from Murtha. Outside, 3-1. Don't want to give in here to Rivera, though. If you walk him, opens up the double play possibility. Three balls and a strike. Pitch. Right down the middle, 3-2. Could really use a strikeout here. Would be the best option. Three-two pitch. Hit to Morgan Oliver, the shortstop. He's coming home, and the ball falls out of Cameron Knight's glove. The throw wasn't great. It was a one hopper to him, and it fell right out of his glove. So Dylan Dillard tacks on another run, and the Twins lead 7-2.
That'll go down as a fielder's choice. Rivera gets an RBI. No error on the play. Just I'll tell you, Dylan Dillard plays the game hard, and he has good speed. He was going on contact. Even though the infield was in, Oliver wasn't that committed to being in, don't you think? I mean, he was more halfway, more than in, and it wasn't hit terribly hard by Rivera. And by the time Morgan fielded it, he released it quickly, but Dillard was able to slide in. Even if Knight catches that ball and puts a tag, I think Dillard would have been safe.
Yeah, Dillard was running on contact there and extends this Twins lead to 5. Quade Adams, the new pitcher for the Broncos. We'll see how he fares here in the top of the 6th inning. More Bronco baseball coming up here from McDonald Stadium. Quade Adams, as I said before, the new pitcher for the Broncos. He comes in with a man on first. Jacob Swiney. the batter. Righty versus righty matchup. As Rivera takes second, the throw is in time, and Parker applies the tag as they catch Juan Rivera trying to steal second. And 2 outs.
David Albritton, he's one of those coaches you can kind of see his emotions and kind of chattering now to Trevor Azell. And they're having a conversation as Adams ready to throw, Avery.
The next pitch to Swiney is hit out of play. Yeah, Albritton is, you have the coach's box. He was standing right up the third base foul line. It was, technically, if that ball hit him, I think it would have been a fair play as Swiney swings and misses. 1-2. Now he's wandering back into his coach's box, and now I don't know. I think he's awfully close to that third base bag. I know he's still in foul territory, but 1-2 pitch missed by Swiney, and the Broncos give up 2 runs in the top of the 6th. They'll see if their bats can come alive in the bottom half of this inning. Twins 7, Broncos 2. More baseball coming up.
Now pitching for the Dorado Twins, number 13, Jeff Robertson. And leading off this inning for your Dorado Broncos out of Wichita State University, number 8, your right fielder, Michael Muka.
So a new pitcher into the game for the Derby Twins, relieving Lagdi Zotika. Jeff Robertshaw, the new pitcher. And he will face Michael Muka, Wade Stramp, and Cameron Knight in the bottom half of the 6th inning.
Avery Robertshaw is from Concord, California, goes to college at Sterling in the Kansas Collegiate Athletic Conference, an NAIA school. Robertshaw appeared in that 22-8 game that was won by El Dorado, and Jeff, who is kind of a knuckleball, kind of a location kind of pitcher, struggled, as many of the Derby pitchers did on that night. Robertshaw went 1 2/3, gave up 4 hits and 3 runs. So the Broncos hope for a little more of that hitting magic tonight as they enter the 6th inning down 5.
Have to be happy to see Zotika out of the game, too.
Well, he throws so hard. Now you come in with the softer throwing Robertshaw.
Muka is called out as the ball was hit to Grosvenor at first. He ranged over to his right, made the play, tossed it over to Robertshaw, who touched the bag. From here, it looked like he got him by a step, but a close play nevertheless at first.
And the umpire's right there. He had a great look at it, and he knows best on whose foot hit where, and rung him up and did it. There wasn't any thought there either. He called what he saw.
Back to your point about the kind of definitely the different speeds between these two pitchers. I'm sure these hitters are coming up just their eyes are wide and big because this, after seeing Zotika and his fastball, having someone come in and throw a ball so as slow as Robert Shaw does, I'm sure those hitters are just waiting on that back foot, and I'm sure it's a hard adjustment. 1 ball and 2 strike to Wade Stramp. The 1-2 pitch as the umpire checks to see with the first base umpire, see if Stramp went on that check swing, and he didn't. 2-2. Left-handed pitching Jeff Robertshaw. The pitch is hit down the third base line and hits the top of the Broncos dugout and foul.
Gus Strunk came all the way to the Bronco dugout, gave it a look, but ran out of real estate. And Stramp gets to live to see another pitch here in the 6th inning.
Next pitch outside as Choi makes a good stop, but there's nobody on base. So 3 balls and 2 strikes. I'm sure as a catcher that's just natural instinct to make sure that ball doesn't get past you. Full count to Stramp. The pitch barely misses up high. Close pitch, but Stramp gets the call, and now Cameron Knight.
Cameron Knight.
Playing Cameron to pull. 1 down here in the bottom of the 6th. Stramp on first, Cameron Knight the batter. First pitch is hit him between first and second. A base hit for Knight. Stramp won't be able to advance as he actually ran back to first on that play. He thought that Robert Shaw was going to go throw it back to first. So he went back that way, and he went home with it. But Cameron Knight shoots one between first and second. And now there's 2 runners on for Trevor Azell. First pitch from Robert Shaw. Just outside, 1-0.
Ball's just tantalizing, and again, it has to look huge to the Bronco hitters. Zotika has so much gas when he was firing it in there, and you just got to be patient, wait back, and try to still be selective.
1 ball, no strike to Trevor Azell. The 1-0 pitch hit down the first base line, but it just goes foul. Off the bat, that ball looked like it was going to roll to the fence, but instead, a harmless foul ball.
A little surprised you don't see maybe the Derby defense to play a little more to pull. You'd imagine with a slower pitcher that maybe that gap there between first and second. Now the right fielder is playing more on the line now, it looks like.
1 ball and 1 strike. The pitch is bunted. Choi tries to jump and dove and try to catch that ball. Instead, it falls in foul territory. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Not a bad idea there by Trevor Azell, but into 2 here with the first 2, or with 2 of the first 3 on here. You don't want to give up any of those precious outs here. That was his decision. Certainly not a coach's decision, I don't think.
Looked like he got the bat head just a little too far under that ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Pitch is in the air. It's going to drop. So, not terrible there. As if that ball would have been caught, Stramp probably would have been doubled up at second. Instead, the ball fell. But Azell did a good job of running out that play, making it to first. And then he threw it to second to get out Cameron Knight. A smart play there would have been to let that ball drop, throw it to first, because Cameron Knight was on his way back to first. So if you throw it to first, you can get it to second and tag out Cameron Knight. Instead, first and third with 2 outs. And Morgan Oliver. First pitch is outside.
Rivera there, I think he could have come up and made the catch. He thought that, might be able to way to get a double play. But you're right, a little unorthodox, but to field it and throw it to first would have been the play there because, the runner Knight was off there, was heading back to first.
And I think even if, say, Stramp would have came around to score, I think they would have taken it out for the run.
Of course, Stramp had started at second, so that would have been tough for him to get all the way around too. Lots that can go on. You have to make those split-second decisions.
1 ball and no strike to Morgan Oliver. The pitch in the turf, 2-0. Morgan Oliver, the batter, struck out in the second inning. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. The 2-0 pitch. Inside 3-0. Good patience there from Oliver as the ball looked like it was going to be a good one to hit. He let it drop. And now 3-0.
Avery Neil Winter out of Coffeyville Community College is warming up in the Derby bullpen.
Oliver way ahead here. 3 balls and no strike. The pitch. A courtesy strike, I think. That ball looked to be off the plate. 3-1.
You think the automatic, if you're around the plate 3-0, will give you the strike play there?
I think that was in effect. So still a hitter's count for Morgan Oliver. 3 balls and 1 strike. Runners on the corners. The pitch outside, and that'll load him up for the second baseman, Levi Parker.
Now on the plate, number 2, Memorial State University, your second baseman, Levi Parker.
So we'll see if Levi can come through big here. Put in a big spot. 7-2, Twins lead. Bottom of the 6th inning with the bases loaded for the Broncos and 2 outs. Jeff Robert Shaw, the pitcher. The first pitch to Levi Parker is in there, 0-1.
Avery, the Broncos had the bases loaded in the first inning, you might remember, with 2 outs, but Cameron Knight struck out to end that threat. You'd love to get something here with 2 outs again, bases loaded. Another opportunity for El Dorado.
Next pitch is missed by Parker. So Robert Shaw way ahead here at 0-2. But you have to be careful. Don't want to spike anything in the turf, as there is a runner on third. No balls and 2 strikes. The pitch from Robert Shaw. Outside, 1-2.
Good 0-2 pitch there by Jeff Robert Shaw. It was close enough to make Levi think, but he didn't offer at it.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Levi Parker. The pitch to Levi, outside, 2-2, a good stop by Choi.
If you want to be greedy here, if you're a Bronco fan, right center field is really where you want to go. Flax is playing in at center. Playing the line is the right fielder, Swinney. That's where the hot spot would be for El Dorado.
2 balls and 2 strikes. The pitch to Parker is chopped to the second baseman. It'll be a tough play. He'll go to second, and he gets Morgan Oliver. A close play. It wasn't hit very hard, so that was Juan Rivera, who really had to make a quick decision if he wanted to go to first or second. He chooses second and gets Morgan Oliver just barely. So we head to the top of the 7th. Twins 7, Broncos 2. More play-by-play coming up here from McDonald Stadium.
Pretty obvious number 20, Ross Grover.
Broncos trail the Twins by 5 here in the top of the 7th inning. Quade Adams still pitching for the Broncos. He will face Ross Grosvenor, Colin Neville, and Brian Choi. First pitch to Grosvenor. Finds the lower part of the strike zone, 0-1.
David Albritton again communicating with Trevor Ezell. I'm sure it's friendly, but it's just awkward to see the third base coach way up the line and jabbering at Trevor after each pitch.
Well, if you can't see it at home, it's almost like if you were to watch a major league game, that's almost where the third base umpire would stand.
Yeah.
Up the line a little bit, the ball's chopped back to Adams, the pitcher. 1 out in the top of the 7th.
Favor the line on Josh Murtha tonight. He relieved Nick Schumann, who went 4 2/3, gave up 5 runs on 7 hits. Murtha just 2/3 of an inning, 3 hits and 2 runs, 1 strikeout for Murtha. But Quade Adams he's been really the hot pitcher lately, along with a lot of other relievers for El Dorado.
First pitch to Neville, outside 1-0. One ball, no strikes from Quade Adams. Next pitch, also in that same vicinity. Cameron Knight catching that ball, but kind of looking at his pitcher like, let's find the strike zone here, get it back within the plate.
He's been around it since he came in, but those first 2 pitches weren't anywhere close.
Neville ahead 2-0. Pitch. Low 3-0. And Joe Cavallo in the Broncos bullpen. 3-0 pitch, also low. 4-pitch walk to Neville. And now Brian Choi, the catcher, who 1 for 2 tonight in the 5th inning. Had a single and a stolen base. He has 2 stolen bases tonight from the catcher, which is quite unusual. One out in top of the 7th. First pitch to Choi, also low, 1-0. So now Adams has pitched 5 straight balls. One ball, no strikes to catcher Brian Choi. The next pitch, also, that's going to be called a strike. Pretty close. 1-1.
Avery Choi with, and again, that hasn't had a ton of big hits. It's 7-2 Derby, but I thought Brian Choi's 2-out, 2 RBI single in the 5th, a big hit in this game.
The pitch, hit up the middle. Oliver touches Neville, and then doesn't have time to get Choi at first, who runs pretty well, especially for a catcher. So a fielder's choice.
Almost an unassisted double play there for Morgan Oliver.
Now Gus Strunk batting for the Twins. He is 0 for 3 tonight. Flyouts to center field and right field, and also a strikeout as he watches ball 1 go by. One ball and no strikes. A pitch to Strunk inside. Some high heat from Adams, 2-0. Strunk walks out of the batter's box to regroup himself after that ball was coming in pretty hot. 2-0. Choi on first. The 2-0 pitch. Low, but he's going to get the strike call. 2-1.
He wants to have to wait like 3 seconds after the pitch.
Had some umpires those last couple games that have kind of had some late calls.
Toyed with us a little bit.
Yeah. 2 balls and 1 strike. Choi takes second. The throw is not in time. So Choi is in with his 3rd stolen base of the night. Three balls and a strike to Gus Strunk, who's trying to get on for the first time tonight. The 3-1 pitch from Adams finds the inside part of the strike zone. Makes the count full at 3-2. 2 down, top of the 7th inning. 7-2. Twins. The pitch barely misses the inside part of the strike zone and a walk. And now Jared Flax. Two outs, top of the 7th. Twins trying to add their already 5-run lead. First pitch to Jared Flax is chopped down the third base line. It is foul.
Of course, Avery was Trevor Rizal, who came in and gave the Broncos 5 2/3 of relief pitching when they really needed it here Sunday night against Derby.
No balls and a strike to Jared Flax. The pitch. Right down the middle. Good curveball. No balls and 2 strikes. Flax is 1 for 4 tonight. No balls and 2 strikes. The pitch from Adams. Going right at Flax. A grounder to Azell. He'll go to first with it. One hop, and it gets past Stramp, and that'll score Brian Choi from third, and both runners move up a base. So a costly...
It's going to be an error on Trevor Azell. Tough play, but now that's one of those I could see maybe a single in an error because it was going to be a tough play, but it'll be an error, straight out error on Azell. No RBI given to Jared Flax.
And now Tanner Kirk, the batter. The first pitch is hit out to Sam Lane in center field. He has a beat on it, and he'll make the play. So the Twins add 1 more run. They lead by 6. It's stretch time here at McDonald Stadium. The Broncos coming up to bat next.
Stand up and shake it out. Taking out the ball game. Time of the 7th inning stretch.
Hey, we go get me a Snickers candy bar. What?
Broncos, your center fielder number 6, Sam Lane.
Sam Lane starting off the hitting here in the bottom of the 7th inning. The leadoff hitter for the Broncos. Lane will be followed by Dylan Muka and Clayton Dalrymple. First pitch is hit to Rivera at second. He makes a strong throw. 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th.
Avery, another frustrating half inning if you're a Bronco fan, as the Twins had a chance for a big inning. They score 1 run that inning on 0 hits, 2 walks, a fielder's choice, and an error. And the Twins get a run, and again, kind of reminds me of the last night with the 4 walks and 2 hit batsmen and 1 error. And it's just making it easy on.
Unfortunately, it's becoming a theme here.
Yeah.
For the Broncos as runs off walks and hit by pitches and hit batters, and that's what you can't do.
Everyone's got good players. Everyone's got good team, and right now just the pitching has had some weaknesses. Even though Adams has been pretty good, just 2 walks there, and it just causes trouble when you start getting guys on the base pads when you put them up there for free. It doesn't matter what level you're at, Little League, Major Leagues, wherever. If you put runners on for free, they generally come back to bite you.
3 balls and 1 strike to Dylan Muka. 8-2 Twins. The 3-1 pitch low, and Dylan Muka is on via a walk.
Another theme that we're hoping to see broken here either tonight or this weekend, leaving the bases loaded without making teams pay. El Dorado has not been doing very good at that. They've left them loaded twice tonight.
Twice tonight, I think maybe once last night and twice against Derby the night before. So 5 times the Broncos have left runners on with the bases loaded. 5 times in 3 games. Dalrymple. Now the batter as he watches one go past him in for strike. I'd like to invite anyone who's listening tonight, comment on the video, tell us where you're listening from, who you're listening for. Still haven't gotten any comments tonight. No balls and a strike. One of our favorite things to do in the games is hearing where everyone's listening from or who you're listening for. Not too late. You still can comment. We'd love to hear from you. No balls and a strike to Dalrymple. Dylan Muka on first. The pitch. Little high, 1-1. One ball, 1 strike. 1 out. Bottom of the 7th inning. 1-1 pitch from Robert Shaw. Low, 2-1. Two balls, 1 strike as Robert Shaw fires one over to first. It almost got past Grosvenor. Still 2-1. The pitch outside. 3 balls and a strike. Dalrymple and the hitter's count here at 3-1. The 3-1 pitch outside and another walk. So exactly what Derby doesn't want to do is put runners on for free, and that's what they've done here in the 7th. And we're going to have a visit from a Twins coach. They do have a player warming up in the bullpen. Doesn't look like they're taking out Robert Shaw here, but I'm sure their coach is saying, come on, let's throw some strikes. We don't want to give him any more free base runners. They lead 8-2, do the Twins. 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. Now Michael Muka, the batter. He's had a tough night at the plate, 0 for 3, including a strikeout, and he grounded into a 4-6-3 double play to end the inning in the third. Time for some redemption here as he watches a strike go by. 0-1. No balls and 1 strike. 1 down here in the bottom of the 7th. Runners on first and second. The next pitch to Muka is a strike. Oh and 2. Robert Shaw way ahead. Next pitch from Jeff Robert Shaw is tapped foul by Muka. He stays alive. The Twins scored 2 in the 3rd, 3 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, and 1 in the 7th. That's how they have their 8 runs. The Broncos 2 in the 4th. 0-2 pitch. Swung on and missed by Michael Muka. A pitch he knows he should not have swung at is in the right-handed batter's box. 2 down. And now the first baseman, Wade Stramp. He's had a pretty good night at the plate. He's been on all 3 times, 2 walks and a double. A run scored. Runners on second and third with 2 outs. He watches a strike on the inside corner of the plate. 0-1. No balls and a strike. To Wade Stramp. A pitch. Up high, 1-1. Dylan Muka on second. Clayton Dalrymple standing on first. Neither one are being held on at the moment. The 1-1 pitch from Robert Shaw. At the letters. 1-2. Stramp not liking that call and having a couple words to the umpire. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Runners on first and second, 2 down here in the bottom of the 7th. Twins lead 8-2. The 1-2 pitch, the runners are going, and Stramp watches it for a called strike 3. He shakes his head in disagreement, but nevertheless, the Twins get out of it. They lead 8-2. We head to the 8th. More play-by-play coming up here on YouTube.
Now pitching for your Dorado Broncos out of Newman University, number 14, Joe Kennedy. All right, Broncos fans, get your red tickets out. It's time for the 50-50 drawing. If I can find one of the kids down here in front to come draw, that would be great. They need to hustle up here if they want to do it. All right, reach in there, draw a ticket.
Four zero zero 9455.
400-9455. 400-9455 now for the 50-50 pot tonight is $73. 400-9455. You have the ticket right on up here.
Joe Kennedy, the new pitcher for the Broncos here in the 8th inning. And I'll toss it over to Kurt, who has the call for the 8th and the 9th. The Broncos trail by 6.
Avery, everything we've talked about that the Broncos can't do, the walks and errors and the hit batters, which have come back to cost them. they have not been able to repay the favor there as Robert Shaw walked 2 men there. And I know Wade Stramp wasn't happy with that 3rd strike call, but he never swung the bat in all 3 of the strikes as the leadoff batter Dillard bounces over to Oliver, and Morgan will throw him out for the first out of the inning. But it just seems like with Robert Shaw, you want to be patient, but I think maybe the Broncos too patient almost against him as they sat and they're watching a lot of pitches.
Yeah, like you said, they just couldn't repay the favor, and that's what you got to do is when they take advantage of your walks and errors, you got to do it right back to them.
8-2 Derby here in the top of the 8th. Joe Kennedy on the hill for Quade Adams, 1 2/3 tonight. He gave up a run, had a couple of walks. He struck out 1. And Adams did not allow a hit. He came in a tough spot, got out of it, didn't allow a hit, yet still gave up a run. It was unearned. Here's a pitch low, ball 2 to Juan Rivera. Rivera has had an interesting night. He singles in his first 2 at-bats, was asked to sacrifice in the 5th, and he popped out on a diving, dramatic play by Trevor Ezell. Then Rivera hit into a fielder's choice, which turned into an RBI in the 6th inning. Rivera then was thrown out by catcher Cameron Knight. Here's a hit over to Ezell at 3rd. High throw, Wade Stramp. Boy, he has saved his teammates several errors Sunday and tonight. Stramp has done a great job over at first base. So 2 away. And it's Jacob Swinney. Swinney singled in the 1st, doubled and drove in a run in the 3rd, was hit by a pitch and scored in the 5th. He struck out in the 6th, so his 5th at bat here for Jacob Swinney, the right fielder. Swinney goes to Delta State University, swings and misses, 1 ball, 1 strike. He's from Ocean Springs, Mississippi. 6 foot, 200-pounder. Jacob Swinney. 4 outfielders on the Derby lineup, and Swinney lines one out to short. Diving effort by Morgan Oliver off his glove and into center field. So Swinney is now 3 for 4 tonight. That'll bring up Ross Grosvenor. Grosvenor 0 for 3 with a walk and an RBI. His best hit ball was back in the 3rd inning. Trevor Ezell made a tremendous catch of the ground ball and was able to get it over to Stramp to retire Grosvenor in the 3rd inning. 1 ball, no strikes, 2 away, top half of the 8th inning. And Grosvenor drives one to left center field, heading to the 375 part of the wall. A couple of hops to the fence. Lane fires it into shortstop, and the throw home is offline. Now down to 3rd base to Ezell. They'll get Grosvenor there, but the run scores an RBI double for Ross Grosvenor, and the Twins extend their lead 9-2. Grosvenor is retired. Let's see, after the double, it would be 8-4-2-5 to get Grosvenor. 9-2 Twins. We head to the bottom of the 8th. You're listening and watching to Bronco Baseball here on YouTube.
Derby Twin, number 29, Neil Weber. Leading off this inning for your El Dorado Broncos, number 7, your catcher, Cameron Knight.
So a new pitcher coming into the game for the Derby Twins. It's Neil Winter, 6'5", 210-pound kid. He is from Norfolk, Nebraska. Goes to school at Coffeyville Community College in the Jayhawk League. Robert Shaw goes 2 innings, gave up just 1 hit. He did walk 4 Broncos, but didn't allow a run. He struck out 2. Just 1 hit given off Robert Shaw. As the first pitch from Winter is lined foul by Cameron Knight. Knight is 2 for 3. He scored a run back in the 4th inning. Struck out in the 1st, singled and scored in the 4th, and singled in the 6th inning. And here's a pitch that was started at Knight, didn't have much break to it, and it hit him on the back pocket. So Cameron Knight will go down to first base. And that marks just to my numbers here, the 3rd time tonight that the leadoff batter has gotten on base for El Dorado. Here's the pitch from Winter and a swing and a miss from Trevor Ezell, the 3rd baseman. Flat out to center in the 2nd inning, a ground out RBI in the 4th inning, and a fielder's choice in the 6th, so officially 0 for 3. Down at first base, Cameron Knight. Neil Winter, the righty, throws it in there. Ezell bounces out to second. Rivera over to short for 1, and to first, not in time to get Ezell. But Derby cuts down the lead runner.
Shortstop number 10, Morgan Oliver.
And Juan Rivera just continues to play a very solid second base. He does not make any errors down there. He's a fine-looking infielder. Morgan Oliver comes up. He's 0 for 2 with an RBI. Walked in the 6th. Sacrifice fly in the 4th inning. And he struck out in the 2nd. 9-2 Derby here in the bottom of the 8th inning. And Winter's pitch is chopped foul by Oliver as it drops right near the dugout of the Broncos. Broncos and Twins will do battle again on Thursday night at Derby's home yard. They will hook up again in the final regular season game on July 22nd at Derby. 1 ball and 1 strike. So the Norfolk, Nebraska native, Neil Winter, with a 1-1 count, 1 away in the 8th inning. Ezell's over at first base. Here's the pitch into the turf. Nice job by Choi. Both these Derby catchers, we saw Austin Orth obviously a lot on Sunday in 15 of the 16 innings. He did a nice job blocking balls. Well, Brian Choi has been just as good back there as well. 3 catchers are on the roster for Derby. Torrey Bell is the other one, and I don't know if we've seen Torrey Bell this year. I don't recall him. 2-1, and Oliver taps one going towards first with a lot of spin, and Grosvenor will pick it up. It wasn't going to spin back fair, but just to be safe, Grosvenor will pick it up for a foul ball. 2 balls and 2 strikes. It's going to be a busy weekend here, Parents' Weekend. A huge gathering for Saturday. Doug Bell was up here earlier, and I got to chat with him a little bit as he's excited about all the events going on this weekend. Especially the highlight has to be the Saturday night tribute to our veterans. All veterans in the area asked to come out here. Try to get here about 6:30 at the latest, and you'll be recognized out on the field here at McDonald Stadium, and everyone would like to thank you for your service as Oliver fouls one into the parking lot. 3 balls and 2 strikes. All 3 games this weekend will start at 7 o'clock. Parents' Weekend. Avery and I look forward to maybe getting to put some faces with the names that have been commenting at us all year. 3 balls, 2 strikes to shortstop Morgan Oliver. Trevor Azell down at first base. And the pitch from Winter, and Oliver pops it straight up, and the third baseman Gus Strunk settles under it to retire Morgan. So that's 2 outs. And Levi Parker will come to bat for El Dorado. Just 1 run last night against Wellington. Just 2 so far here through 7 2/3 against the Twins. Here's a ball that gets past Choi. And Azell will take second base on the pass ball. So 1-0, 2 away here in the Bronco half of the 8th inning. They trail it 9-2. And Winter's pitch is hit out to center field. Flax a few steps back, and now he settles under, and that will retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left. We head to the 9th, 9-2 Derby here on YouTube.
All right, Broncos fans, just a couple of reminders as we head into the 9th inning here. This weekend is Parents Weekend here at El Dorado Broncos, Brad Long Field, McDonald Stadium. Come on out Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as we take on the Liberal BJs for a 3-game homestand. Saturday night is Veterans Night here at McDonald Stadium, so all veterans are asked to attend the game and be recognized for your service. Please come out Saturday night and join us at the ballpark to watch some great baseball. Help us honor our veterans by saying thank you for serving our country and protecting our freedoms. Again, all weekend long, it's Parents Weekend. 3 games at home, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against Liberal, 7 o'clock every night.
And welcome back to El Dorado, 9-2 in favor of Derby. And kind of a disturbing stat here for the Broncos. They have 6 hits tonight. They have left 10 men on base. 10 men left on base so far for El Dorado. For Derby, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 7. They've left 9, but they've plated 9. El Dorado has plated 2 and left 10. And for El Dorado, just 1 hit in the last 4 innings. So the bats have gone silent. Zotika, Robert Shaw, and Winter have done the job. And here's a tap out to first base. Covering first is Kennedy, and a nice job. Stramp to Kennedy to retire Colin Neville.
Number 34, Brian Choi.
And that'll bring up the catcher, Brian Choi. Tough night for Colin Neville tonight. 0-for-4 with a walk, 2 strikeouts. Brian Choi hasn't had a bad night, though, and again, his single, his 2-run single in the 5th inning, made a 3-2 game, 5-2, and then 2 more in the 6th, and single runs in the 7th and the 8th, and Derby has just slowly but surely pulled away from the Broncos. Brian Choi struck out in the 2nd inning, reached on an error in the 4th, the 2 RBI single in the 5th, and reached on a fielder's choice in the 7th and would later score. Swings and misses here. 1 ball and 1 strike on Brian Choi. Top of the 9th inning from El Dorado. And that one in there for a strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Kennedy comes from he's got that sweeping arm motion. Sidewinder. That one swept all the way across the plate for a ball. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Joe Kennedy from Augusta. Plays at Newman University. Throws another ball. It's 3-2 to Choi. Gus Strunk will be next for Derby. Choi waits and swings, chops one up the middle, and Oliver fields it, gloves it over, and throws over to first base. What a nice play by Oliver. If Levi Parker fields that, no way he throws out Choi because Parker's momentum's taking him out to left field. Oliver was the only one who could make that play, and he did.
I think that's one of those things that the Broncos infielders between Levi Parker and Morgan Oliver have kind of discovered throughout the season is, communication-wise. And obviously that was a play by Oliver, but I think just overall those two have gotten a lot better.
And now Strunk taps one to Kennedy. He waits for it over to first base, and that will retire the side. 1-2-3 in the ninth. The Broncos need a big ninth. It's 9-2 Derby. We're back in a moment. This is Bronco Baseball on YouTube.
All right, Broncos fans, we're running the bottom of the ninth at the top of our lineup. So let's get riled up and support your team here. Let's hear some excitement as we kick it off at the top of the lineup with number 6 from the University of Texas, Tyler, your center fielder, Sam Lane. Now pitching for Derby, number 32, AJ Franks.
And welcome back. The Derby Twins will bring in A.J. Franks. And Avery, we saw A.J. here on Sunday night. Who didn't we see? We saw everybody on Sunday night. And A.J. Franks went 3 innings, allowed just 1 hit and 1 walk. He was really good. And he's got a 7-run lead here to protect in the 9th inning.
Yeah, the main thing for him is just making sure he doesn't walk anybody, doesn't hit anybody, and if the Broncos are going to get on, make sure they earn it.
So it's the top of the order for the Broncos. Center fielder from the University of Texas at Tyler, it's Sam Lane. Lane is 0 for 4. Against the sidearm thrower, A.J. Franks. And the first pitch is in there for a strike. Franks goes to Santa Ana Community College. He's from Seal Beach, California. 6'1", 165. And a tough customer up on the mound. Second pitch is outside, ball 1. Franks, quick worker as well. He's got his sign. 1-1 pitch is off the plate, 2-1. So 2 balls and a strike, and the pitch. Lane hits it out towards second base. Juan Rivera gobbles it up. Throw a little offline. Good grab by Grosvenor to retire Sam Lane. And the 3rd straight time that Sam Lane is grounded out to Juan Rivera. We've seen a lot of good players this year, Avery. This Juan Rivera at second base, one of the better middle infielders I think we have. It'd be kind of fun to see if they put together an all-star team or who the best at each. They do that.
Yeah, at the end of the season, they come up with a first team and second team, I believe.
Now we saw Hayes. That was a while ago. We only got to see Dodge City in one of the 3 games because we missed 2 of them, and we'll see Liberal this weekend. But it just seems like you see Derby and Wellington a whole lot more. No balls and a strike to Dylan Muka. And now it's 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes, 1 away, bottom of the 9th, 9-2 Derby. And the pitch, sound like a broken bat. It's right to Rivera. He fields another one, another strike, and the second out of the inning. Rivera Let's see, Sam Lane has grounded out to him 3 straight times. Dylan Mook has grounded out to him 2 of his last 3 times. A lot of 4-3s on my scorecard. Avery, one thing for the Broncos going forward with Derby again on Thursday and then back here for the Liberal BJs over the weekend, got to find a way to get in the lead. Do you think about this 4-game homestand they've had? Their only lead came in on a game-winning hit from Michael Muka in the bottom of the 16th inning. Other than that, they've never led. They were tied tonight for the first 2 innings, and then they tied it after 4 innings. But they are just constantly fighting uphill.
Well, that's tough because then once you do get the game tied or take a lead, you might lose all your energy or something, and lose the lead again.
Clayton Dalrymple, Tawan Rivera, and he makes all 3 putouts for Derby here in the 9th inning. And a very efficient 1-2-3 from A.J. Franks. Avery walks, hit batters, and 3 errors tonight from the Broncos. Just not a great night of baseball. In fact, the last 2 nights, losing 7-1 to Wellington last night, 9-2 here tonight. Back to the drawing board for Chad Gerwick.
Yeah, you got to do something here, and you got to do it quickly if you want to get back into contention.
Off night tomorrow night, back in action at Derby Thursday. Our next broadcast will be here Friday night at 7 o'clock for the Liberal BJs. Time of tonight's game, 2 hours and 48 minutes. The winning pitcher, Ladgi Zotitka. The losing pitcher was Nick Schumann. And that'll wrap things up for us. So, for Avery Osen, Kurt Caton, bidding you good night. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Hope you've enjoyed our broadcast of El Dorado Bronco Baseball.